Now, you've heard the term idealization, but here's another term that will correlate with that: admiration. Covert narcissists can attach to people through admiration. Like, they will admire people that have attributes and talents and skills and wisdom, knowledge, and intelligence that the narcissist himself or herself doesn't possess. But they want to. And so what they're going to do is they're going to, at first, I wouldn't even call it idealize, I just call it admire deeply. Almost enamored with, mesmerized by somebody that possesses something new, something special and unique. They want that for themselves eventually. And they're going to try to copy you and emulate it. Like, if you're a talented person, if you've got skills, if you've got knowledge, if you've got wisdom, if you've got something to offer life, and the narcissists see that, they're going to want that for themselves too. They're going to want to be you. But the problem is they can't. At best, they can try to copy you, copy your information, copy your style, steal your design, something. They're going to try to be like you. Now, the problem is that you're the source. And so within that structure of admiration, they're going to be approval seeking initially. They want you to sign off on who they are, that they're like you. The problem is that you'll be looking at whatever it is they're doing, and you will see your fingerprint, and you will see that it is not quite that strong. That they didn't quite get it. That there's just dimensions missing. That they can't see, understand, appreciate, or really acknowledge. Because if they had the capacity to see that vast discrepancy, they would have reconciled it, and they wouldn't need to admire and copy you. In fact, the narcissist doesn't really understand what it is that makes you who you are and motivates you to be the way that you are. And in my experience, and somebody can correct me, I have not met one narcissist who's actually inspired. And I have met some that are intelligent, but there is a missing dimension of real creativity. I've met some that you could say creative maybe, but there's something really missing. That I have met people with genius level IQs. They had no creative capacity. They had to try to steal my ideas and then try to arbitrarily improve upon them. And those arbitrary improvements expose their ignorance. Because it demonstrated a lack of understanding, because the designs that I would come up with were not arbitrary. They were well thought out. In any alteration, it was like, I would look at what they did and it was like, couldn't make sense of it. And then it turned into a gaslighting session. And so this is what led to one narcissist putting a bolt in a customer's engine, where these conversations where they were copying some of my engineering ideas. And I didn't understand it because the person was intelligent. Like I thought, why wouldn't they just make their own stuff? Why is it that if I design something, they're going to design one like it and try to make it a little better here or there, and then need me to know about it? Really bizarre. Really bizarre. I mean, it was childlike, but it created animosity unnecessarily because the kid had the intelligence, but he totally lacked the development. He just lacked the development. And so I see that now. People wanting to emulate or copy, but they lack the development that they authentically can't deliver because they don't get it. They don't get it. They can't. And it's irreconcilable. And this is always going to result in betrayal, discard, competition. What you're going to notice is that these friends that started off as your admirers become your haters. They become the people that want to see you fail. Because at some point they suffered narcissistic injury in their effort to be like you and garner your approval. Like there was something fundamentally insecure about these individuals, that you could detect it, that there's a neediness that they presented that when they wanted you to take a look at them, it was like they had everything riding on, what your determination was. Like your seal of approval would have been like their arrival at something. But you noticed that there was something off. It didn't jive. Wasn't authentic. That is going to be a problem for them. Make them uneasy, uncomfortable, feel rejected, feel, in fact, maybe even insulted. And so now what are they going to do? They're going to try to be better than you. They're going to try to be better than you at being yourself. That's often why they need to sabotage you and bring you down. They need to devalue you and bring you down in those instances because, you're you. You're great. You're better than them. And so they have to bring you down in order to be better than you. Like if you're at full strength, without the devaluation and the artificial competition, the stress, the smear campaign, because you see, there are narcissists that will just set you up to be better than you. And so, we call it the discard, but you see with the admirer version, the one that admires you and then tries to emulate you and then feels rejected by not being able to be you, now needs to prove themselves as better than you. And so your relationship may not have a discard phase because you don't have that kind of relationship where they can discard you. Maybe they're a coworker. Maybe they're in your family. Maybe you don't have any kind of agreement or relationship with them that there'd be any reason to sever ties. And so instead of the discard, I would call it the subordination. The subordination would be on a social level or at a level like a corporate level, is they want to supplant you. They want to be recognized as your superior. So why am I creating these distinctions is that when we look at these relationships from the standpoint of idealization, devaluation, discard, those are, they may fit like that model in a romantic relationship or a friendship, but there's going to be relationships where, idealization, well, they're not idealizing you. They're trying to idealize themselves by admiring you. And so, the proper term would be admiration phase if the relationship's not like a romantic one, right? Someone's looking at you, they want to be like you. That's admiration. They're not necessarily idealizing you, but they're noticing what makes you who you are, and this the big distinction between them and you and the respect that you have. And so they may not be idealizing, but they're strongly admiring, and there may be an idealization of you. I know psychopaths will do that, but as far as narcissists, I think that it just comes down to strong admiration. And then they will have an emulation phase. Okay, so you have admiration, and then instead of devaluation, I would call that emulation. And then within the emulation, towards the tail end, you might have the rejection. So the rejection would be when they've attempted to emulate the object of affection and admiration, they will fall short. Now, whether it's fall short in your assessment or fall short in the assessment of others, because they're looking for agreement for who they're being and what they are, they may not feel like they measure up. And so they will become a failure, and they will want to fix that. And then they will hold you, the person that they originally admired, as responsible because you're the source of the insecurity. You're the thing that they can never be. You're the real deal. They never will measure up to you. And so what do they got to do? They got to fix that. They're going to sabotage you. They will sabotage you. Make no mistake. They will professionally sabotage you. They will do something. Believe me. Subordinate. So that would be the tail end. And so what I would say, there are relationships you have with narcissists that have different phases. Like I would say admiration, emulation, with the rejection of self, followed by the sabotage phase. And that could include flying monkeys. It can include all the different strategies that they would use in a discard.